So top bans, guys. We still saying
Here comes Quap.
Wisp.
Quap, Undying. Oh no, not Visage. Okay, Visage and SF. I mean, but you were saying, I actually want to get back to this, the Queen of Pain that you mentioned.
If EHUG does a ban it, it's a mistake.
Blitz, Hani, do you guys still think that Queen of Pain is ban-worthy or first pick worthy?
Definitely. I think it's a very ban-worthy hero. It's just because you usually want to open up with a hero that's not stuck in a lane, and it's a perfect example that K-pop mentioned, is that they don't just play it in a mid-roll.
I think that if MOUZ is going to ban here, I would ban the heroes that you feel could kind of cheese or upset you the hardest, and so Visage is taken out. There's a lot of strategies that revolve around that hero. I kind of hope that they take her out the IO/Wisp, because you don't really know how fluid Team EHUG is, and if you plan on taking the Queen of Pain. But I agree with Hani there in the sense that I think the Queen of Pain is definitely ban-worthy, and so EHUG is going to ban it themselves. I think one of the teams should ban it.
Well, we'll see if it happens. Yep, there it is. First pick.
K-pop.
Easily taken up. Well done, K-pop. 1-0 to the rest of us. What about the gyrocopter ban? Do you guys feel there was a slight nerf to the gyrocopter? Certainly decreasing his power at level 1, but basically still the same hero. Definitely ban-worthy?
I think it's alright.
Yeah.
I mean, often, obviously, you see the gyro just being played as your carrier role. I still think he's versatile, like if you want to really play him on other roles, but generally, yes, it's a very comfortable carry, and if you know your opponent team, and I believe these two teams have scrimmed against each other, they know what's the value, where the value is at, and I think gyro is a justified ban.
This is very interesting to me, the Nyx Assassin. I almost think this is kind of a deny pick for Team EHUG, because MOUZ Sports is 12-1 on Nyx Assassin since 6.81, and the majority of those games have come in the last 2 months. That's Pulba's favorite go-to hero. We're talking about how Boba plays that kind of space-creating hero. He doesn't need a lot of farm. He wants to make space for Black and Qualifier, and that's his favorite hero to do it with. And so I don't think he's a second-pick hero, so I really think it's a deny pick.
And it's also important when you think of like block picks that it is actually still useful to your lineup, and obviously it's going to be incredibly strong versus any intelligent core.
Yeah, it's strong against Quap. So.
Yeah.
The good part with a Nyx Assassin is actually, after looking at the patch changes, is to me that because there's certain, like Octarine Core, one of those items that you benefit a lot having a Nyx Assassin mana burn, where I think the hero gets a bit stronger in itself. And yeah, like you were mentioning, I think it's generally a good hero against Queen of Pain. If you get that mana burn off twice, the hero is basically dead.
Right.
So MOUZ Sports immediately take the clockwork. I like this. I think that you need to pick Bulba Zero in the first 2. I think he's one of those players that kind of benefits from having comfort heroes. Like we all know that iconic scene, Liquid are doing it, Bulba with the clockwork against LGD. I think that's like one of the most iconic moments in North American Dota history, and so we see the clockwork picked up. I think there's nothing wrong with that. It's good against the Witch Doctor just to open up on. It creates space for your cores.
Right.
I think it's the perfect Bulba hero.
And followed up by the ban now from MOUZ Sports of the Puck. I mean, pretty good 1v1 hero versus Queen of Pain can also really shut her down going into the mid game. So again, making sure your Queen of Pain has the best time possible. Plus, Clockwork isn't necessarily very strong against him.
Right, and Infinity's really comfortable with Puck. And so it's one of those situations where you want to make EHUG as uncomfortable as possible, I think. Yeah,
Infinity, I mean, Blitz, you can back this up, but Infinity is definitely one of the more of a technical player who is very good at being able to win those 1v1 scenarios, right? So the Queen of Pain Puck classically is viewed as one of the more even matchups, right? It just simply can be an outplay one way or the other.
Right.
It feels like that would be kind of a go-to hero for Infinity to establish dominance here in this first game.
Yeah, also when you're playing a Queen of Pain against heroes like Witch Doctor, Nyx, and Puck, you kind of, if you're playing against a Puck, you have to build an Orchid, right? Just because you need some way to stop the phase shift.
Yep.
You need a way to open on it. But if you build the Orchid against a Witch Doctor, Nyx, and a Puck, if the Puck gets a Blink Dagger, you're just going to get destroyed. Like the Puck blinks in, silences you, phases out. You don't really do anything as a Queen of Pain. You get immediately bursted down. That's not the type of role that you want to play this game. And also, I completely agree with you. I think Infinity is one of those players that not a lot of people know watching this, but if you're a North American player, like you definitely know his history.
Agreed. And a Wyvern ban.
Yeah.
Do you think that's... we've seen a couple of Wyvern picks in the Chinese qualifiers. I think I saw one. It might have happened more than that, but I haven't seen much more than that. Do you think it's deserving of a ban here? Have they been scrimming MOUZ and...
I think MOUZ has played the hero recently twice.
Okay, maybe they have.
Correctly.
I haven't been aware.
I think they're 2-0 on it. If I'm not entirely sure, but they have recently scrimmed with the hero.
Okay.
And I think it's a solid support. To me, it may be even underpicked. I think you can make a lot of plays with the hero towards mid lane Like, I'm always concerned in the mid lane that the hero just can come from the side, walk over the cliff, and you're like, what am I doing?
Right.
I mean, against the Queen of Pain, obviously, it's not that great to do that, but generally against the mid movement, you're kind of limited just because it works only with smoke gangs and whatnot, but the hero can always pressure mid lane very hard, I think.
The ultimate is really underrated at like level 1 for solo pickoffs too, because it's still a single target disable for a long time. It's almost like a fiend script. It's not quite as long, but it's kind of the same idea. So you can roam really well at level 6 with Wyvern.
And it's an instant disable. It's like once you're caught 800 range, I think there's no way out.
Exactly.
The tree ban out from MOUZ Sports, I kind of like that one solely because that would have been the hero to make Nyx Assassin impossible to deal with in the offlane, right? He's already very hard naturally. Then you put maybe Poor Man's Shield, Share Tangos on him, and then it becomes ridiculous. You get Living Armor in there instead of Poor Man's Shield. You just have Living Armor spammed out. Nyx Assassin could just be constantly going blow for blow against the supports and eventually beat them out, get the experience necessary to start roaming around the map. So I like that ban out. Team EHUG Disruptor, followed up by the Bounty Hunter from MOUZ Sports.
I think actually one interesting aspect with Nyx Assassin on the offlane and the Mango change is that you have quite a high HP regen level 1. And I think it's one of those pickups I would take at level 1, just getting a Mango, so you're sitting at like 3.5 HP regen. I think he's at 2.
I thought he was at 3.
3 already?
It's the highest in the game. I don't know.
Nyx, I think he got... It is 3, yes.
3?
Yeah.
I think it's either 2.5 or 3.
Yeah, so you would go up by 1 even. So harassing plus having a star chip potentially on you there's not much going on. I think it's quite nice. Obviously, he doesn't have the greatest tools to harass back, but at the same time, I think he can sustain himself pretty good on the lane.
Yeah, we've seen Nyx Assassins actually utilize the Mango in the offlane before, in exactly the sense you're talking about. You're able to tank up a little bit more natural regen, and then they can eventually blow it in order to blow mana burn. So if you're using, say, Skywrath Mage is like the perfect hero to go up against because you just spam, mana burn against him, and at that point, once you take away all his mana, his right clicks really do nothing against such a hero that has natural high regen and such armor. But Viper now for Team EHUG.
I like this pickup. I think that EHUG, they needed a frontline hero. The Nyx Assassin, the Witch Doctor, and Disruptor, after the Nyx Assassin uses his, what's that ability, the Spike Carapace, he's actually quite vulnerable to death. And then there's I think the Bounty Hunter was a response to the Nyx Assassin, but also the squishy lineup that EHUG had. And so I think you need something to get in the front to kind of, if they get tracked, to kind of act as the frontline buffer so your team doesn't just get killed one by track.
Over under 2 courier kills by Pylite this game. What do you think?
I think under. But
2 is a little much, but 1 is a bad number to.
Yeah, I think he'll probably get 1. I would say 1 is like...
What I like about this Viper pickup on top of that is because we're talking about courier snipe ups, right? The obvious Bounty Hunter, sniping your courier in the first 3 minutes is a huge problem. Viper is a hero who doesn't need a bottle necessarily in lane at all. Like, he's perfectly fine at just staying there. So he can go the full 3 minutes, wait it out, and, pick up boots or whatever he needs for the lane, maybe some extra regen. So in that point, he's very independent, and the Bounty Hunter is going to have less of a hold on that laning phase, where you have other matchups, particularly against the puck, where if you say you run, say, Zeus middle, right, 2 shared tangos, you quickly burn through both of those. You have to get your bottle right away. If you don't get that bottle, you lost the lane against a Quap 100%.
And we saw at the Summit 3 that even the best players in the world can focus too much on winning their lane in mid and get their courier killed in a situation they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Sumail had a really hard time at the Summit 3 going against, I think it was against Secret. Just they killed his courier constantly because he was so focused on winning the game. Because it's so important this patch to really win your lane. And there's all these lane-winning heroes that are hard to lane against, like Queen of Pain and Viper, a classic. Like, I'm going to dominate the lane matchup, and you can focus in too much on that and get your courier killed. So, it's very easy to do, easier to do than people realize, I think.
I think one thing to mention about the current picks right now that there is, when you have a Viper middle against the Queen of Pain, it's going to come down to which supports are going to help out the other lane, and I think. It's going to be hard for Disruptor and Witch Doctor to do anything and start against the Queen of Pain, but on the other side, we have a Bounty Hunter who is not going to rotate into the jungle because there's no jungler. He most likely is going to sit on the Viper, I would assume. And if he gets a few kills, like if Queen of Pain and Bounty Hunter manage to kill the Viper, Viper is not a comeback hero. If you have a bad start, that hero falls off very, very heavily and is most likely not going to do anything throughout the game.
And Anti-Mage.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you guys, what's the hard carry that Blast's going to pick up? Well, it's certainly not Animage. EHUG have sniped that one away from them. I think it's a great pickup versus most of MOUZ Sports lineup.
I think it would have been terrible for MOUZ Sports. Like, I think if
Yeah, I would agree.
because pretty
Disruptor.
much, Disruptor plus like any other hero would pretty much be able to destroy that anti-mage. But I like it on EHUG because, like you said, it's great against the Queen of Pain. Clockwork doesn't do too much against it. You can't really pressure with the Clockwork. You need Lion to have levels, but then you've got a Bounty as a support. I think MOUZ Sports needs a carry that can kind of zone out the... Yeah, okay, so they're going to take the Phantom Lancer. I think they needed a hero that can much dual lane, and so bo2 is going to be playing the Lion. I don't know if this is going to go because Pylai Dai is going to kind of roam around, and the Lion's not really going to get too much space by himself.
Right.
It's gonna be. I think to me, Paladai is probably one of the best heroes. One of the best players to zone people. I think he's really, really good at zoning.
Right.
And with having almost no items as the position 5. I mean, I know that Bounty Hunter it's like one of his favorite heroes, so that's why he's playing it clearly. But I'm not entirely sure how good bo2 is gonna do the zoning in comparison.
Yeah, and
Well, unfortunately, we have a pawn, so I guess we'll stick around a little bit longer. Talk about...
What do you think about anti-mage just in general this patch? Like, it seems kind of antithetical to what you want to do this patch, which is, ball up, win early, and this hero is somebody that wants to have the game not necessarily go uber late, like super late, but he wants it to go late, like past 35 minutes for sure.
You would say his prime period of time is usually like 40, 45 minutes, right, where he's usually got at least 5 or 6 slots, but... All right, guys, so we're getting into now our first game of MOUZ Sports and EHUG. We're going to leave it to Blitz and K-Pop to casting for this series.
yeah, so I kind of wanted to talk actually about the anti-mage pick. I think that the anti-mage, it's kind of a response to what MOUZ have. They don't have the best lockdown aside from the Lion, who needs levels. But if you assume that the Lion and the Bounty Hunter, I think that's one of those things that they read. They were like, okay, there's a Bounty Hunter. It's only going to be a Lion. That Lion is going to be zoning the Clockwork most of the time. He's probably not going to have the, or the Nyx most of the time, I'm sorry. So he's probably not going to have the best time in terms of getting a Blink Dagger, in terms of getting levels.
Exactly. Yeah, if you are going to pick an anti-mage, this would be the right time to pick it, I think. It's really, really odd in this meta, I think. We haven't seen a hard carry of his like in a while. Yeah, but it's weird because the American scene loves their anti-mage. Like, more so than any other scene, America picks it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those iconic heroes as well. It's probably one of the heroes...
He's fun.
Yeah, if you're a carry player, you know how to play anti-mage, and so... for EHUG, obviously anti-mage is a hero that has this really weird power curve, right? Where he gets 6 slotted faster than any hero in the game.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he just like tapers off.
Exactly. So I think that actually kind of works in this meta a little bit. Is he farms really... He's almost like a light version of Alchemist, where he's not quite as hard into that getting 6 slotted immediately, but he's kind of the same thing, just pushed back about 5-10 minutes, right? But he can farm fast, and he needs to farm fast, but he doesn't do terribly well once the other carry gets 6 slotted.
And Bloody Nine kind of just messing with Pylai Dai, and Pylai Dai just doing his standard stuff, trying to mess with the supports,
right?
Make life difficult for them.
Yeah, he's all about blocking these camps. Usually you see the Bounty Hunter as a counter to the Chen more so than just, regular lineup like this, but he's just really, really interested in making sure these blocks and these pulls don't happen.
Yeah, and Pylai Dai getting quite low, but should be able to walk away from this, but... Oh, he's actually got 11...
Oh, wow. That level 1 Thunderstrike.
That most surprising.
I think that does more damage than just about any other nuke at level 1 in the game. Thunderstrike does.
It was more surprising that Pylai Dai sticked around for so long, considering he wasn't going to win that trade. Like, with the sentry right there, if one support rotates over, you're dead. Yeah. I think you have to get out of there, and that's actually such a huge kill. He's now going to rotate at bottom, but MJW has done decently enough for himself here at this bot lane and being harassed down a little bit.
Good job with the double hit from Pylai Dai.
It's actually dipping quite low, and the Lances are there to follow.
Will they get it? Yes.
One more hit, and they're able to get the kill. Pylai Dai with that Orb of Venom, making a good rotation, and that's what they need. The first death wasn't the best thing in the world, but the second kill that you set up kind of makes up for it in a sense.
Right, exactly. And Pylai Dai does give First Blood more than any other player on MOUZ Sports. I think he's given up that would make like 11, I think. Over his time with the team, but I think that's okay because he always puts himself in a position that if it goes well, it's going to go exceptionally well, and if it goes bad, he can recover. Right.
Yeah.
He was in a situation there where, yes, he gave up first blood, but he blocked a couple of camps, messed up things, like got Bulba a good start in lane, and then he was able to rotate bottom after dying and getting a kill. So it makes the best out of a bad situation generally.
I was actually just about to point that out. I said a boot. About to point that out because the Clockwork is level 3 compared to the level 1 Nyx
Right.
Assassin, and so you're okay with this type of trade because Bulba's had such a good time. And so I feel Pylai Die kind of embodies that principle of tactical feat. Like
Yeah.
you die, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Exactly.
So
Of course, it's better if you don't die, but if you do die, it's not the worst.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be pretty glad just to kind of mess with him there and be able to get out with 10 HP, but...
Exactly.
And he's actually making his way back up here, and Justin is getting
Pretty
a little
low.
bit low. There's no way they're able to kill him, but they're just trying to mess with him and get him as low as possible, and Pylai Die getting a few hits and just forcing the anti-mage out of the lane. And this is what you need to do. You need to disrupt his rhythm.
Exactly.
Like, take him out of that Battle Fury timing, and right now, it's going just decently enough for them.
If you're at home watching this bounty hunter, wanting to, spice up your life with a little support bounty hunter, watch how Pylai Die is always in position to get that Shadow Walk hit while he's in the fade time. Every time he goes for it, because if you're careful and you hit the first hit with the Shadow Walk while it's still fading, you get that extra bonus damage at the beginning and the end as well when you come out of it. So if you're at home and you want to really improve your bounty hunter play, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, and at top, Cask the Fly,
Oh, he's got the Melodic on him too. It's going to be a lot.
and 2 more hits should be able to clean Pylai Die up again, but again, Bulba able to survive, misses the cogs, but a free kill up the top, and again, Pylai Die goes down, but... at that one,
That one's not good.
that point
That one
was
is not good.
You're not happy with that one if you're Pylai Die,
No.
but you have to be ready for that. There's 2 supports up there. You've got the anti-mage that can blink in, and I really like the decision by the Witch Doctor to go for that Maledict because they realized the heal isn't so necessary.
Right, exactly. They're going to be dealing with like burst damage. Like it's going to be Pylai Die coming in to get some quick damage with the Clockwork, or it's going to be nothing.
Yeah, and so Bloody Nine picks up an Invis Rune. Looks like he wants to make his way mid, but he doesn't have the Disrupt, and Pylai Die, again, about to be found out in this middle. They actually start pinging around this area.
This
and
is really smart Sentry Ward placement from EHUG.
Yeah, it's better than just putting it straight in the middle lane because the most important thing is that you want to spot the rotations between the top and the mid lane, and so
Exactly.
doing just that. And MJW, though, has been zoned out of the off lane, sitting at level 2 right now, and that's the power of the PL.
He almost got that courier.
And at top, Cast the Fly. So does the Maledict. Bulba's out of mana right now, but this shouldn't be enough damage, but just enough to harass him out. He does have a salve, so he should be okay. And Quakefa in this mid lane is getting quite low, but he should be okay. He's got the blink up. He's just going to bottle. I assume he would bottle Crow just because of the timing of this, and Bottle's actually going to, or Crow's actually going to head for top. And
the
then
screen.
middle, Sonic Wave to fly, but Quakefa doesn't have enough quite yet. There's the follow-up, Scream of Pain and Pylai Die's rotation, able to make that kill happen. TP gets canceled at the last second, but the Queen of Pain, who is doing quite well for himself mid, just does a little bit better now.
Yep. So I think this has been pretty even so far. I think MOUZ has come out a little bit ahead because I think they're winning 2 out of 3 lanes. They're not doing so well top relative to the other lanes, but Black is getting exactly what he wants bottom, and they just got to kill mid, so it's doing pretty well for them.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to watch this game and say, like, oh, Pylai Die's feeding, but at the same time, look at how much space he's created. He's able to create a lot of space for Bulba at top. He got the kill on MJW at bottom. He made stuff happen in this mid lane. And the thing about the Queen of Pain Viper matchup is that Viper is incredibly annoying to Queen of Pain.
Right.
But if Queen of Pain just has a little bit of help, she starts to get 1 or 2 items like treads, then I think she does fine.
Right, exactly.
So this bottom, Way2 is going to camp out the rune. Quakefa absolutely needs it, and he's actually just going to take it for himself.
If you're support, what types? If you can't get like a haste rune or an invis rune, do you prefer having a bounty rune over something like a regen or even an illusion? Probably as a
yeah,
support.
because a regen is situational, right? Is that
Right.
sometimes it's going to work out really well for you if you're support. Like if you just spent all your mana harassing the offlaner, I think illusion on certain heroes, like if you get one at level 2, then it really helps you to zone out the offlaner. It's like one of the more broken things, but yeah, the bounty rune, especially for a hero like Lion who's not going to get the most space possible.
He's been able to
I think
get a lot of
it's
levels though. He's almost a level 5 6 minutes in, which is pretty good for your kind of a solo babysitting support with Pylai Die roaming around.
I think a large portion of that, too, goes to the fact that MJW went to the mid lane, kind of camped there, because he kind of saw the gank coming.
Right.
And as soon as he left, the bounty hunter kind of just strolls in, is able to pick up the kill. And so if MJW doesn't really contest this off lane,
Right.
it means that Way2 can just continuously pull.
Exactly.
Do the pull through repeatedly. And at the top, they don't really have that luxury as Bulba's had such a good start with 20 CS already in the off lane against a tri lane.
Yeah, they've won 2 of these 3 lanes, and the other lane they're not losing quite as bad as everyone else is. And here we're going to have a big fight in mid. Oh, spike goes in. Infinity's looking bad, but a great spike from MJW. Will Infinity make it out? He will not. And they'll turn around on him, and this is not going to look good for EHUG.
Yeah, he doesn't have the spike carapace up, and he goes down, and that's a double kill for Qualifier. Quite a big thing for a player that's known for snowballing.
Oh, yeah. On a hero that's known for snowballing as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you said it yourself. This is one of those heroes that MOUZ love to play. This is one of the more prevalent heroes in this patch, and giving up 2 quick kills after that Queen of Pain. I think that's his 3rd one as well. My eyesight's terrible, as most people know, so I can't really read the screen. Can you verify?
He is 3-0.
All right, so he's 3-0 with the top net worth in the game, and as a Viper, you kind of pick it as a hero that isn't meant to dominate in terms of CS, but you're just meant to keep the other person from CSing. And now, with those 3 kills, almost doubling the Viper net worth now at just 6 or 8 minutes into the game.
Exactly. Now, if you're doing this well as a quad, what's your normal item choice against a lineup like this?
I think you still need to get a BKB. It just kind of depends. If Qualifier was having a terrible game, I would say that he would need to get a BKB as a first item. But I think things like Aghanims, even Necro 3 would be okay here, in my opinion. Like, I think getting a Necro 3 would actually be really decent.
Okay, loop around here.
Yeah, going for the dive, the stun to follow as well. MJW going to go down really quickly, and Ja has to be careful as well because there's not much stopping them, and they're actually not going to chase that out.
Don't you hate that TP timing, though, when you TP to save your friend and you get there just as he dies, and you're like, oh, man,
you're not really
sure.
die too. Luckily, the stun and the Hex were on cooldown, and it didn't look like they wanted to commit for it. Ja was out of mana, and this mid lane again, Infinity. I mean, they're just encamping him all game, and now it's the clockwork to follow, and he hasn't been showing himself, but because he has to realize at this point, any sort of rotation is able to kill him with that Queen of Pain, and this bottom tower should be going down quite soon. Splat just starts to chip away at it with the Ring of Aquila up and Glyph to fall, but I mean, Jaws doesn't have the most mana and HP. The Nyx Assassin doesn't really have the levels required.
He's just now level 4. This has been a really rough lane for him. Phantom Lancer, one of those heroes that are so annoying to lane against, just spamming out lance after lance. And yeah, you can carapace it, but it's almost not worth the mana cost to constantly carapace it.
Yeah, and Bloody Nine makes the rotation for this bottom lane, and I think he had the right idea there. I think that you need to somewhat contest when that tier 1 tower is going to fall, especially to a hero like just the Phantom Lancer and the Lion. But meanwhile, at top, Justin, I mean, he's just been contested so much this entire game. Like, even when you go for kills, you do push out the lane, and you're seeing the benefits of that right now for Bulba. So this mid matchup, I mean, the Queen of Pain now is absolutely dominating. It looks like he's actually going to go for the Orchid.
It's rough at Viper when before 10 minutes you're having to kind of chill at your own tower when the creep wave is in the middle.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. It's just demoralizing, right? Like, I play this matchup a lot. If you're losing a matchup as especially as the Viper, you're just kind of thinking to yourself, like, boy, what am I going to do? I don't have a flash farm mechanic. I don't have the best way to go around and gank because I'm in a mobile slug humanoid flying thing. Like, I'm not meant to go for
My
kills.
wings aren't even on right, they're on backwards.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, he has backwards wings.
Yeah, and he's got a huge underbite as well. I don't know why that affects
He just doesn't have
anything.
anything going for him in life right now.
So the Viper, I mean, a hero known to dominate the lane isn't able to do so. He's actually falling quite behind in terms of net worth, and
Pai's even messing up these stacks as much as he can.
yeah, just being able to invade the jungle this early, and again, Justin's just not having the best time at top. And at bottom, I kind of just want to focus on the Nyx's levels if we're just able to take a look at that. He's only level 4 at almost 11 minutes into the game. And this is with Pai devoting his time between this top and mid lane.
Right. If you have no Vendetta right now, you don't have Viper doing well at all. Like, how do you force fights? How do you get pickoffs right now? You can't. And they don't really want to play. They're somewhat okay with playing a little bit passive because of their anti-mage, but they want to make space for him. They don't want to just sit back on all lanes. They want to be aggressive in their other lanes so the anti-mage can be free.
Yeah. And when you play this type of style that MOUZ is playing, where you have two kind of hard farmers in the mid and the carry role, I think this is what has to happen. You just have to consistently rotate with your supports. And in this mid lane, Bulba with the hook shot. There goes the Finger of Death. 3 ultimates used in succession. I mean, if Infinity was feeling bad, he's going to feel even worse as ult after ult to fly, but definitely worth it.
I like Quake for there. He's like, give me that kill. I want it.
Got to get that last hit. Not even going to wait for the screen.
Got to get that stats page. I got to keep my KDA super high.
Yeah, and so Quakefa, they're going to push out this mid tower, and with no Viper here to contest it, I mean, they don't have the best way to kill him. Bloody Nine has to hit level 6. That's what EHUG are kind of waiting right now for. They need to hit this kind of level timing where they get the level 6 on the Disruptor, so he gets his ultimate. You've got the Vendetta as well to help, and John actually gets the deny!
Clutch deny that base damage from Witch Doctor.
Go you, Jaw. They needed something to stop the bleeding, and that's one of those, like,
Feels good.
get out of here kind of moments. And so Qualifier actually going to opt to go for that Orchid. And that top Bulba going to make his move on Bloody 9, but Bloody 9 not going to be able to get out of there as Qualifier rotates in.
Another one.
On a mega kill, and Justin, he is tracked up, but they shouldn't be able to get more out of this. But again, that's just another kill that adds the way of MOUZ. And you talk about a snowball lineup. You've got a Bounty Hunter on top of a Queen of Pain that's got a lot of kills. And this is what's happening now, is that Black just kind of gets to skip between a tier 2 and a tier 3 tower to farm.
Right. It's one of those things where they really shouldn't have won the lanes as hard as they did, but there was a chance. If everything went well for them, if Pylai Dai did just what he needed to do and they were able to zone out the Nyx Assassin, they would manage to win the lanes, and if they won the lanes, there was really no way of stopping them.
Yeah, and in this mid lane, Jaw's going to get tracked up.
Pylai Dai, he's been chasing after couriers this entire game, but he hasn't had one just quite yet.
Yeah, he's actually, it's really smart. Do you notice what he's doing? He's just kind of floating between the mid and the top and tracking people as they walk by to make sure that they're not ganking Black.
Right.
Tower to fall again at top as Qualifier just continues to kind of snowball. And
They have all this pressure like on the map now. They can throw down some wards in their jungle if they want to. Like, they just have control over so much of the map. Like, it's this early in the game, they probably have control over 70%. Like, EHUG probably only feels comfortable on like that right third.
yeah, and that's so smart to bring up, just because when you play as a team like MOUZ, where you need to take up 70% of the map to farm between two heroes, I think that absolutely has to happen. And Justin's forced down into this bottom lane. And so we've got Black, his first game in 6.84.
He's all about PL. He plays a really good
yeah.
one.
He's one of the fastest farmers in the Western scene as well. Like, when he joined MOUZ, I was like, okay, that's the perfect fit. They need a player like that. You don't quite know how it's going to work with a player like Qualifier, who's kind of known for being that greedy one position mid. But I think for them, it comes down to how the supports and Bulba play. Like, if they can just constantly rotate, I think it's okay.
The patch kind of forced him into it. I think it was good, because I think if we were still on 8-3 and we were still like into these super late game farming heroes, it would be a little bit worse for Qualifier, because he would think that running two super greedy heroes would work. Whereas now you're running heroes like Queen of Pain, who can be a bit of a greedy hero. You want to get a lot of farm on her, but she has mechanisms to deal with it if she doesn't get it. Like, she doesn't have to be the #1 on net worth. It's just really nice if she is.
Yeah, and Justin taking a bit of a beating at bottom, and he still doesn't have that Battle Fury, but
Oh, man.
I mean, there just hasn't been space made for him this so far, and Pylai Dai being level 6 just being annoying, and I think he's just going to hit him and
being
walk
annoying.
away.
Yep.
Yeah, and so Pi following him into the jungle. They're pinging it out, but can they get the rotations necessary? The Queen of Pain's coming in as well, but Justin smartly should just link up here. The TP comes in, Bulba's in position with that hook shot, able to get that last hit. Roshan wants to piece of him as well, but able to get out, and man, that's brutal.
Yeah, I don't see much of a way to come back here for me. If you, what is the way EHUG comes back? Do they just get a lucky fight, maybe catch MOUZ Roshing and get a lucky fight there, like, or do they just need to really turtle, defend high ground well, and hope their anti-mage comes back? Because 10k gold lead at 15 minutes is not
That's
great.
one of the more rough scenarios that I've seen a team put in.
Right.
But I think for EHUG, the smart thing to do here is just don't panic. Like, things are looking kind of bad, but you just stick to the game plan. Try to pressure Black when you can using the Disruptor, because Disruptor isn't one of those heroes that is meant to be passive. Like, you have to be aggressive with that ultimate, because he doesn't have the best mechanics for coming back into the game. And so Bloody 9 finally starting to do that. He's still only level 5, and that's kind of concerning to me, because he needs to pick up that crucial level 6 to be able to do anything. And even at this point, with how much farm Black and Qualifier have, it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to have the impact that he wants. But I think the correct thing to do is he gets level 6, you smoke, and you try to find the Queen of Pain or Black to slow them down. I think if you're EHUG, you should kind of go for that morale kill, and I think you would go for the Queen of Pain here.
I would agree with that. And yeah, you're completely right about Disruptor, because Disruptor's kind of a hero that you want to force retreats. Exactly, like if they're at the tower and you force them to back off and you catch someone with a glimpse and get a free kill, or you win a fight and you catch someone still leaving. Like, you don't want to be in a situation where you're the one having to retreat as Disruptor, because his kit isn't really useful for that.
Yeah, and that's actually the smartest way I've seen it brought up, because whenever I see a team winning with it, the hero feels actually like the most dominant thing in the entire world. Like you said, most players are used to sitting at the tower, kind of waiting for things to go, and then they run away. But against a hero like Disruptor,
you can't.
It screws up your timing so hard, because you just get to glimpse, you're so far behind that nobody's going to save you.
Right.
You get blown up. Instantly, it's a 4v5, and you can't take that fight. And in mid, a 3-man hook's going to fly, but Bulba's just kind of getting out there, and he lays down the the cogs, and he's got a haste rune. A lot of ultimates being expended for him. Double stun. Queen of Pain, Scream, and a Sonic Wave to fall, and Bloody Nine getting quite low, and the TP coming in from Black as well, but Infinity manages to get that out, and the Queen of Pain blinks away, and Pylai Die kind of in the middle of nowhere. There is a Sentry Ward down as well. They need this kill.
Here comes Black.
Oh, and he's beating away on Infinity, and he should go down as well. Pylai Die is perfectly fine, and a 3-for-1 trade. Just so much was expended
that
for
was such,
Bulba.
that was such a not clean engagement from Bulba either, right? He went in, he kind of yellowed in because he had a high strength, thought he was going to be able to get out, gets glimpsed back into a static storm and dies, but it doesn't matter because MOUZ is just so far ahead. By making them commit to a fight, wasting a static storm on a single hero, they were able to clean up afterwards. So.
Yeah, and so EHUG, I mean, they had the right idea. If they're going to get into a fight, that wasn't a terrible one. Infinity did the right thing as well, breaking that TP from Black, but he was fast enough. He's got Boots of Travel and Ayasha, was able to just kind of hightail it over there. And
Exactly.
you want to kill Bulba there, yes, but the amount that you just had to expend to do it isn't the best trade.
Right, I agree. And that's why this Boots of Travel, this really early Boots of Travel pickup is so smart for Black, because in this meta, you want your carry to be able to fight. You want him to be able to TP to lanes and get there fast and be able to contribute and then go back to farming. And Boots of Travel is the best item to really make that happen.
Oh, yeah, completely. And I think Black has kind of had this reputation of being one of those players that just ignores his team and continues to farm. And right there, you just kind of saw an attitude shift where it's like, okay, my team's in trouble. Yes, I'll kind of drop this farming and try to rotate over and help. And Bulba picking up this bottom rune, just a bounty, so not being able to do much. And like you said, not the most clean engagement, but does he even care at this point?
He just wants to force the other team to engage. If you can make him stick around for just a little bit, the rest of his team can come in and clean up. So it was smart by Bulba.
Yeah,
because he almost took him off guard. Because like, why would you hook in the 4 heroes from the other side? You're literally behind us. You're at where our tier 2 used to be, and you're hooking into us.
Yeah, they were probably just like scrambling. They're like,
what do we do?
Yeah, so
It
Pylai
worked out
Die
really well.
continuing to just kind of hunt around the map, and with all of this tier 2 tower being taken out bottom, it just opens up so much for him. He's able to go so aggressively, and he's got a blink dagger now as well. Just more for EHUG to worry about, and now they're stacked up as 4 because they're so afraid of this bounty hunter and this clockwork to be able to rotate in, and that just continues to create further space right now for MOUZ.
Justin does have his Battle Fury now. 18 minutes is not the worst considering the situation. Is there ever a situation where you give up on the Battle Fury, ever? Or do you just always need it to be legitimate as anti-mage?
It's one of those weird things, you know, when you get a hand of Midas, it's because it helps you with levels and it helps you get further ahead.
Right.
And then you see the catch-up Midas where you're so far behind that it helps you catch up. It's like a weird paradox where the Battle Fury helps you get ahead, but at the same time it'll help you catch up.
Right.
I think that in 99% of cases that you would pick it up anyways, regardless of what the timing is.
Yeah, I don't really. I kind of fooled around with that myself, messing around in pubs, not getting Battle Fury. But it's just, you just need that. The whole point of that hero is to get farmed fast. Like your blink is good because you can blink the camps fast and farm them fast. Like that's kind of the idea. And so you need something like a Battle Fury. Otherwise, you just don't feel like you do anything.
Yeah, I saw some Russian team build, what was that item called? A Vanguard into the, what is that?
Silver Edge?
No, what was that item that upgrades into Vanguard? It's
Crimson Guard.
Yeah, he
Crimson
built
Guard.
Crimson Guard first item, and I felt that was kind of interesting, and it worked for like the first 20 minutes, and then he had like absolutely no farmer damage.
Exactly. Vanguard anti-mage used to be the thing, right? You would get that first, but
Pylai Die gonna get caught out right now, and MJW making his way back, but Pylai Die is just trying to avoid the stun. This is more space creation by death, I guess, but... Oh, and the hook falls in as well. Quakefall with the double Sonic Wave. Bloody Nine getting quite low, but Justin in the rear going to help out, but Bloody Nine's getting a little bit lower, and there's just so many heroes right now swarming in for MOUZ Sports on top of EHUG, and Infinity's going to get daggered as well, and Bulba's on the chase. Invis is up, and EHUG just has to get out of here as 3-man rotation, the Earth Spike is well to fall. Bulba's got a DD on top of that, and Way2's on a kill spree. I mean, they're just being overrun at this point.
EHUG has enemy heroes initiating on them from behind them. They're at their own secret shop, and they have clockworks like almost from their own base hooking in. They have Way2 like came up the ramp behind the secret shop to engage. Like they have no control over their map right now, and they know it.
Yeah, at this point, it's one of those things, too, that you're just killing them with impunity. You don't really
Right.
care where the other
Where
heroes
you're
are.
coming from. You can be sloppy and it's fine.
Yeah, and that's something I want to point out is that people will say, okay, well, MOUZ are so sloppy, but at the same time, it's just because they're so far ahead enough that you don't have to take the most clean engagements.
It's almost like a morale thing too. It's like Ben always talks about how you don't. Like Merlini says, if you're gonna GG, you might as well do it early to keep yourself from getting beat on for the next 5 minutes, so you don't lose morale. And this is almost a thing for MOUZ to be a little loose with their play, to have fun, get some kills, like make EHUG feel bad and make themselves feel great, because that's going to carry on to the next game. Because the chances of EHUG coming back in this game are not great. So it's really smart for MOUZ to kind of play up the psychological angle of we can come at you from wherever, we're going to dominate you, we're going to dominate the series.
Yeah, something I want to point out is that in my time in Korea, I kind of felt that fear as well. There was a point where, actually, hold that thought, as Bloody Nine's going to get initiated on the Orchid to fall as well. Quakefa does get the hit off as well, but Bulba into fly. The Disruptor does lay down his ultimate, and
Doesn't really
Highlight
do a
Guy
lot.
gets ultimated as well, but Justin's just going to kind of run away, and Quakefa's beating on him. He is tracked up, though. One more hit should do it, and he does die in that backline in Infinity. Being pushed back by the Cogs. He is tracked up as well, and Way 2 is being man-fought, and MJW coming in from the rear is able to get the kill, and the double stun is there as well. And actually, he's going to fall as well, and they're going to go for the bait. And oh my god, MJW's out of mana, not in the best
Everyone's so low,
position.
but he just can't do
That's the
anything.
third track kill in a row as Quakefa picks up an ultra kill, and meanwhile at top, Black doesn't even need to participate in that fight. He's got the boots of travel up, but doesn't even feel like it's necessary. And GG, well played, is called by EHUG as
Not too soon.
MOUZ takes a 22-minute victory, and it's a dominant one as well.
Yep. And as we saw, gave up first blood, but it doesn't really matter. He did it in the best way possible.
Yeah, I completely agree there. Like you said, I mean, we can't talk about him enough. But Pylai, yeah, he died, but at the same time, he gave Bulba so much space to be able to do what he wanted. And EHUG's going to go down in that first game. And, I mean, is that kind of what we all predicted to happen or expected?
Maybe not that strong.